As we get into the solstice, I hope this gives clarity for everyone as we burn the holy grass, who again had many lives as it came into this life, as this form. May on this long day, everyone rejoice in the long day. And as the renewal of spring has ended, and now we go into the summer, may all your dreams and all your hopes come through. I am kind of stumped. Need somewhere for that to kind of balance for me. Yeah. You have to watch Sage. Sage can catch on fire. That's a fire. All right, let's get into it, man. Well, thank you for joining me on this solstice pre-long day. Yeah, this is going to be the longest day that we receive this year. I'm guessing at mine, um, in this area, it starts getting the birds start chirping about 3:30. Like usually, if I finish here between 2 and I stay up till 4, the birds start chirping about 3 o'clock. They wake up and they're communicating out there. Today, I anticipate around the same thing. It's been getting light about 4:30. I bet this morning it'll get light about 4:15. So I live on Central Time, so wherever you adjust. So with that said, thank you for joining this edition, the solstice edition of the Chocolate Mountain Show. And I am Eight Wind, and I am timeless. I am the holder of the continuous ball game created by the Hero Twins. It did all start with a gentle sadness. I am your galactic daddy-o, sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. And tonight we are featuring Alaskans Amber. 5.4 of good amber. So pop them if you got them. Smoke them if you want them. I am smoked out, feeling good, feeling funky. And I got this stuff. I got this stuff turned off because this stuff can get out of hand. Really can. It can fool you the way it burns. So take heed when you use this stuff. Be very mindful of fire. Be very mindful of fire. I guess we start with the games today. Pretty much said that Phoenix was a lock today. What was it? 6 points, 114, 120, 106. So that game fell kind of how we predicted. I actually, all watching and breaking the game down, I was quite surprised how well that the Clippers did play. You know, with the quick turnaround, they actually put up a pretty good plan. So that game really didn't have any. There was no surprises. Definitely no surprises. It played out the way I thought it would play out. So I know the thing that everybody else wants to hit me with is, yes, the Sixers did get put out, and so I wasn't shocked. Okay, so I wasn't shocked that they got put out. That didn't shock me at all. The way they got put out made no sense. As you looked at my videos, there was some plays that just made no sense. It made no sense at all. And so this is the thing. Now, if what you guys had to, so Embiid, the last game, he had 8 turnovers. He turned around and had 8 turnovers again tonight. He had 4 turnovers in the first half, and he had 4 in the second half. The one thing, I don't know if you guys caught what Jimmy Jackson was saying. See, there's always tells where they have to tell what's going on in the game. And Jimmy Jackson kept saying that it's not how many shots you make, but when you make them. This was the tell. At one point, Trae Young was 2 out of 16, I believe, or 2 out of 18. Then he became 3 out of 20. He finished 4 out of 21, but he hit the deep 3 that kind of sealed the game. But the basket was turned off. But Jimmy Jackson kept saying, not when, not how many you make, but when you make. And so he did what Harding and Harris couldn't do last night, hit over shot. This is what tripped me out. Okay, now this is how badly scripted this game was. In the fourth quarter, Atlanta didn't score a point until 7:08. How did they win not scoring a point until 7:08? They went from 12 minutes down to 7 before they scored a basket, and they still won the game. How does that happen? They went that period without making a basket. Embiid ended with 29 and 10, but 8 turnovers. Okay, now this is what. Now I've been watching ball for so long. This ain't gonna work. One thing that I can tell you is they always have comparisons to previous games. What year was it when Miami won their first title and beat OKC? Remember who was the deciding factor in the game? And this is kind of little Kevin Bacon, but because my daughter's mother knows somebody that's friends with this cat. But Mike Miller, remember Mike Miller hit 4 or 5 threes? Didn't you kind of feel that Herrera was Mike Miller? Didn't he play the same exact role? The Jensen role. Remember Jensen and Villanova? But Hurrieta. And then this is something else that did not make sense. They take number 18 out of the game and put Seth on Hurrieta. I'm looking at this as like this. If there was any time for a defensive substitution, that was the time. And they kept going. Seth is what, 6 foot? This dude's 6'7". And they kept putting Seth on him. I never understood that. I played the video where the dude hits Hurrieta's miss. Hurrieta misses when they really kind of had a chance to win the game still. And then number 20 or 22 fouls him on purpose. Too close. And then he does remember the same fake out we saw remember when Durant noticed that he didn't get on the line and they told him to make that grimace and he shot on the line on purpose? We saw the same thing. The video I made about the ref with Ben Simmons scoring, and the ref closest to the play, whose zone the play was in, he called 2. But the ref up top, delayed reaction, was told in the earbud, called offensive foul, call that back. And then the play with Simmons. Simmons is standing under the basket, and they ask him, you are 6'10", standing right under the basket. He said, I thought the defensive player was coming at me. This is what I've been saying about these European players. They one-dimensional. Most of them are jump shooters, and they are free throw shooters. That's their script. Jump shooting and free throw shooting. So, all right. Let me back up, and I'll start talking to everybody. I'm done with my rant. But let me tell you, I took a bet. Now, I lost on the game, but Embiid outscored Young. I did take that bet. Embiid outscored Young. So I won a little money there. Hey, King Kane. Hawks are Suns. That's right. Ben Simmons, Joe Harris is garbage. Yeah, Joe Harris is, yeah. Hey, Denise, thank you for joining me. Good evening to you. Overstand Mocha, you're here. Thank you for joining me. Key, what is happening? Thank you for coming in. Peace to you as well. King Kane. Dread, what's happening? Peace to you as well. Tiger Strong. They replaying the city of Atlanta for the Falcons during the Super Bowl and all those games. That's a good point. I could see some of that. And I even like the Super Bowl game, they showed the whole game the other day, and I should have did a short breakdown. It was the third play. The third down play is what cost them the game. No. The third down play put them out, technically put them out because they had a third down loss of 11, and then the next play was holding, and that they had to punt. So I should have made a little short thing of that, but meanwhile, Bucks have a shot because they're coach from Arizona, which means they could face the Suns, and that's a good point. That's a good point. Championship symbolizes the end of the dollar. You'd have to break down that a little further. Atlanta can give Philly a tough run. Yeah, they did. They did. But just a lot of stupid basketball tonight. They're trying to push Ghana's time. Tame it. Yes, I see that thing too. But just it was just him and Embiid matchup too. And I started and this is how I'll share this. So just trying to break down everybody, looking at the games and breaking down these names, and maybe some names I can give y'all that y'all ain't considered. But of course, for the Bucks, we got Jabbar and Oscar. We got Bill Laimbeer. We got Ray Allen. Don't forget, Ray Allen played with the Bucks. We got Sidney Moncrief, played for Arkansas. We got Marcus Johnson. Don't forget that Marcus Johnson played. Now, this is one thing. Marcus Johnson played for the Bucks and the Clippers. He played for the Bucks and the Clippers. So that's one connection there. So looking at the Hawks, so when you break the Hawks down, remember to put Bob Pettit in. Don't forget to skip Bob Pettit. Bob Pettit was the last time the Hawks won the championship in '59. So when you start your decode, you got to consider Bob Pettit. And then I think the next person would be, I'll skip him, but Lenny Wilkes. Now, Lenny Wilkes was the first coach, but Lenny Wilkes also played for this Hawks team. I don't think I'd have to relook to see if Lenny Wilkes was on the team in 59. I don't think he was. I think he was slightly younger than Pettit. But Lenny Wilkes, again, for the Hawks, of course, Pistol Pete. We got Dominic Wilkins, and I've got to relook, but I'm pretty sure if Zelmo Beatty didn't play with, no, I'm pretty sure Zelmo Beatty played with them too. Now, going into the Suns, of course, we've got Barkley, we've got Connie Hawkins, we've got what's the coach that just died? Westfall. Westfall was a Suns player. Kevin Johnson. So just start breaking the names down of Suns, and as we start putting this together. And again, when we go to the Clippers, we've got to go to Johnson or Marcus Johnson. We've got to consider Bill Walton, and again, Wilt would be with the Clippers as well because he did coach the Conquistadors in San Diego. So if people didn't know those names, I wanted to add those names. So for everybody decoding, you got to consider some of this information too. So Mike was the coach for Atlanta. Mike Dunleavy. Which name? It's the Bud connection. You didn't get, I'm sorry, PJ. Tiger Strong. Let me see. Buck swing symbolized the end of the dollar. Okay. They're trying to put, they pushing Giannis. They're pushing the foreign players, of course. Facts. A bad product. Giannis ain't that. Hey, PJ. Yes, very overrated. Very over. I didn't it's the Bud connection. Hawks do have a chance, though. There are numbers for them. Well, they have won. They are in the group of two teams that have won. And so going on that pattern, one thing I did say is I see the team out of the East winning. I thought the team out of the East was going to be Philly because everything kind of lined up to be them. However, I've always said is you got to consider teams that have won it before. And so I would just say the advantage is going to be the team coming out of the East that has won it before. Just looking at it now, that what seems to be what they're setting up, that one of the teams from the East that has previously won a title is going to win it again. So I could be wrong. Hawks used to be based in Milwaukee. Huh. I've never come across that. Might be. Okay. Forgot Neek played for he did. He played for the Clippers too. But he played for them. They had good teams. He played, I want to say when Marcus Johnson was there, Bob Lanier probably was there too, and Moncrief. So they had some decent teams. Yeah, Neek played for the Clippers too. Yeah. I think after he tore his Achilles, he played for them. Because he was one of the few dudes. Dominic Wilkins was one of the few dudes that came back because it ended Isaiah Thomas's career. He tore his Achilles. He never played again. Hey, Moon Rocks, honus to you as well. Chris Middleton is the Bucks base player. Hey, I tell you what, Tiger Strong, they want Middleton to have the ball when there ain't no time left because Giannis, them eyes, them deer in the headlight eyes. And my eyes is coming. So yeah. I'll say either team has won before. So I give the advantage to the team out of the East. I really do. Now, I will say what we have to consider is, are they going to give that billionaire a title, though? Just like they gave Cuban the title because he was like one of their billionaires. So could that be the role for the Clippers? And without winning the title without Kawhi. So that's another thing to consider. The Chris Paul thing is just so that is so it's not believable. You got LeBron going to a little concert or some shit. He's around folks. Chris did the same thing. And so it's a type of shame ritual for Chris, clearly a shame ritual for Chris. Nothing wrong with Chris. Ain't no protocol. It's just some bullshit. and kind of maybe the Harding, maybe, but Chris is old enough where they sometimes let these old dudes, like I say all the time about Nate Archibald, finally let Nate win a title in his later years. Same with Oscar Robertson. So could this be the time for Chris? Possibly. But teams that tend to haven't won, they kind of push that agenda. Again, I know you want to say, when we've talked about before of looking at Toronto, and we have looked at Toronto, but again, Toronto played the first game against the Knicks. So that is kind of why they got that title. That's why Kawhi went there for the 1 year thing and everything, was just to give them that, because it was one of the first games. So with these two teams, the Suns never winning, and the Suns is 50 years, the Clippers is 50 years. Just doubtful. But we'll see. We'll see. So Trae Young, fun to watch. Well, Tiger Strong, no, but the numbers just don't make no sense. Like, first of all, there's no way you should lose a game when the other team doesn't score until 7 minutes. It makes no sense. How do you lose a game where they don't score, and they shot some bad baskets? Remember, during that cold spree in the fourth quarter, they had a 3-on-1 and didn't score. Remember, Philly came down. It was Tobias and I don't know if it was Simmons, but they had a 3-on-1 and did not score. Tobias missed the shot. They had a couple like that, missed short shots. Here, this team don't score for, what is that, 5 minutes? So that was fishy. That was very fishy. So Booker got that, which Kendall to watch out for now. Well, they latch on to, they seem to, some reason, like, it's funny that the one chick, Courtney, that was with the loser that they made popular, wasn't an athlete, but it had to be something of his family line that they liked. The first, the Courtney's man, it was like this. What is he bringing to the table that she wanted to have her children? Like, what did those witches need him for? So it had to be his bloodline. He's related to somebody, but they definitely want the athlete entertainer energy. They definitely want that, the athlete entertainer energy. And so that's how Covetons work. And remember, Kim was a pass around girl, same as Paris Hilton. Them was pass around girls. It was like Holly Berry too, pass around girls. The girls have to sleep their ritual. That when they were saying what certain girls would sleep to get into the games. Well, some of these Hollywood people have the same kind of thing, going back to Marilyn Monroe's time. Casting couch is what they called it. And so these females, when they was younger, had to go those routes. It's like the episode they did about the tape being released with Ray J, and she's acting crazy. Well, under law, and no stricter law than California, when those kind of tapes are released, both couples, you can't release. It's illegal to release that kind of stuff without people okaying it. So even when Kendra did her tape, it was okayed. It was okayed to release it. And they dramatized it on TV, but it gave them publicity. So they slowed it down. Clippers go to the finals. Suns fans' energy gets harvested. Clippers go to the finals. Suns, interesting, Tiger Strong. They slowed it down. Was Alicia Curry 1-2? I don't think so. I mean, if somebody wants to look her up and see who her people are and go back a couple generations about her people, yeah, that might, but I don't think so. Why do I think they lost? I see that the ratings must have jumped up for Atlanta some way. We've already, now this is the same thing. Now this goes with Trae Young missing so many shots. At one point, again, at one point he was 3 out of 18. No, 3 out of 17. At one point, this guy was 3 out of 17. But just as we saw him lose and not go any further in college, they still made the tournament because the long shot maker is kind of an agenda. Now, I thought there was more energy from Seth as far as being a product. But when you're talking about adults and people, what I think is gauging is younger people accepting Trey and younger people accepting Atlanta. We see in the Boule push a little bit with the MLK jerseys, kind of goes with the Black Lives Matter stuff. So that seemed to probably get a little better ratings. That's all I can think of. And it like at the end of the game reminded me of when Embiid got put out his first year. I mean, he had a clear layup, almost like Patrick Ewing finger rolling and losing the conference finals off of missed finger roll shot. It almost reminded me of that. It was like he didn't really go strong. Yeah, he got fouled, but you anticipate him getting fouled. But he just clearly missed the layup with a guy guarding, but layup. But the Simmons play is just beyond. He had something in his ear. Somebody told him don't shoot it. It made no sense. Because when he first caught the ball and made his turn after he regained, he had looked up at the rim. So he knew where he was and then not to shoot. So, but what I like about, and this is, tearing down a brother from another country, I like that he's exposed. And that's why even the questions is going back to his college game. How did this cat be so highly wanted? It's all a psych job. I mean, again, look what the media can do. Look Bennett. Look at what they did to Bennett and convinced the world, and where Cleveland was stupid enough to pick Bennett number one. And that's why Bennett was a worse pick than Kwame Brown. That's kind of old news with Kwame. Bennett was a way worse pick. Because this is the thing. He had bad habits. That's the biggest thing about Bennett. He had bad habits on working on his game. He didn't do anything. They said, well, by the time he was in rookie camp, he wasn't even in shape. Rookie camp, you should be in decent shape so you can dominate, not play back to get in shape. And so bad habits put him out the league. So I think that's why. I mean, coaching-wise, liking Doc, Embiid said it, he hooped. I want to switch back a little bit to the Clippers game. Did you see how they put Cousins in there? Cousins had a nice yoke. He dunked on the dude, hit a three. So look for Cousins to have a big role in this series, even though they lost today, which I wasn't surprised. But see, remember, Cousins didn't hardly play in the previous series. So Cousins was pretty fresh, and they're going against Alton. So they, they're going to have big dudes. So I thought that was a nice thing because I think Cousins ended up with 8 and 10. I don't think he got any rebounds, maybe 1 or 2. But that's a thing. So if Simmons could shoot, the 76ers would. Bennett was horrible, absolutely. Hey, James, what's happening? You think the coach, Monty Williams, sacrificed his wife to put himself in that position? That was the first, when it happened, that was the first thing I thought. That was the first thing, yeah, definitely. And maybe that's why he's getting rewarded too. But yeah, that was definitely. When I heard that story, I thought the same thing. I was like, look at where he's going to end up. Because the Australian, they wanted their first MVP type Australian player. What was the guard that Utah took? Remember the guard that Utah took? That dude was only 6'2", 6'3", always hurt. Again, not a real, athletic body at 6'2", 6'3". Remember the guard that I think Utah picked that guard out of Australia first. Not anything special. American players just as good. So we see that these hype machines have made these players that can't really play. Again, most dudes come from Europe. They 2 things: 3-point shots, and they shoot free throws. That's it. One-dimensional games. And they want to convince you that these players are worth going to get and bring over, instead of these children that have been playing in America, traveling, playing these AAU games. They want you to think that those players are better. And they're not. They're not better. And it's not me hating. It's just saying a fact of being able to evaluate talent. I have that ability. I've been able to evaluate talent since I was a young boy in high school. But going to college, I could look to see playing the games. Like my freshman year, I didn't play, but I watched. I was able to evaluate talent, who could do what. And so when I watch this, that's what I look at. I look at all those kind of skills. So, but it's a hype job. They bring these players over, and then they break an American boy's heart, stick him in the G League, stick him having to go play in Europe when he got the same skill set. Because of the agenda that David Stern did. That's the only way they're gonna get seeing, and the European American just cares that it looked like them, basically. That's all they really care about. Whereas and that goes back to the colorism in the beginning. A lot of these folks wasn't considered WASP. See, that ain't even a thing anymore. Maybe we should start calling them that again. A lot of people ain't even considering them WASP anymore. Because that was really the club was who was WASP. That was the club. If you wasn't that, you wasn't considered. You couldn't use the word white because you wasn't a WASP. White, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, which Germans, Hitler and them was Catholics. You see them with bishops, the German bishops. Pope wasn't talking shit about Hitler like that. I mean, when you had American Catholics join the war and they was fighting against German Catholics. What sense did that make? And when Hitler attacked Germany, you had Jewish faith, Bolsheviks, against Catholic Germans. That's why when they first go into Russia, they run into all them Bolshevik-like towns. That's who they was fighting when they first went into Russia. So this is the key to your answer. This is the answer to your question. Hey, Greg Deep, Darren Williams. No, Exum. That was the name. Exum. Yeah, Exum is his name. But so this is the problem. Like with Giannis, when he shoot a free throw, you go to muscle memory. If you haven't done it since you was 10 or 11, it's hard. It's hard at 17, 18, 19 to change that muscle memory that much. Now, one dude that knew his limitations, but he worked on what he could do right, was Hakeem. Hakeem worked on his footwork. Wasn't never going to be a jump shooter, but at 6'10", more like 6'9.5", he could do a nice jump hook, but he really picked up the footwork. So he found he could do that. But again, how would he get the opportunity? American kid that tall wouldn't get the opportunity to just start playing basketball in 11th grade and didn't really have any skills. They wouldn't get that training. But to answer your question, if all your career till you was going to the NBA, you didn't have to shoot jumpers, it's just not going to come. You haven't practiced the muscle memory enough. So Ben needs to train with Manu. I agree, Greg. I saw a start yesterday. Anthony Bennett averaged two games per point. You read right. Yeah, but yeah, Dante Exum. They pushed him like he was the top guard coming out of the country. Like no one had heard about this cat, but yet he's getting. I think he was a lottery pick too. No way he should have been a lottery pick. No way. You looked at him in his game when he came in the league, and nobody was saying his lack of skills, but he always got hurt. Yeah, Darren Williams got hurt a bit too, but yeah, Dante was not that. He wasn't a lottery pick, veteran American players. So if we learn anything, see how much they lie. They lying about these European dudes being just as good. They're lying. They hype them up. Porzingis shouldn't have been a lottery pick that New York picked. Phil was forced to pick him. Because this is an agenda bringing them over. And yes, I hate on them because it takes the job of American player. They've been living it all his life. All his life, American player been living here, working where the continuous ball game was created. And because they want butts in the seats, he don't get the opportunity. He got to go to the G League. He got to go play in another country. So this NBA machine can bring in people and hype them up. And of course, the medium runs with it. And when they ain't that good the first couple years, they hide them. Dirk Nowitzki was 2-3 years they hit him. American players don't be getting them chances. You don't prove in 2-3 years. Look at the big dude that the Pistons got rewarded for not picking Carmelo. That dude that was playing in when the game was over, going in when you blowing a team out. It was called that time, Merklich or whatever his name was. And they kept him around, and he shouldn't have been there 1-2 years. Obviously, he didn't have the skills. And that's how the Pistons was rewarded for not bringing in Carmelo. That was, to me, that was one of the dumbest drafts ever. That made no sense. But then the Pistons went in a year or two later. And that was their reward for not drafting Carmelo, which would have made them, Carmelo could have kept them going a little longer, where they might not have lost to San Antonio, that Pistons team. They might have been able to beat San Antonio with Carmelo. And you can't tell me that Joe Dumars ain't a good evaluator of talent. And he looked at this big dude, 7 foot, when they didn't need him. They had Ben Wallace. What they need him for? They had the Rasheed Wallace. What did they need him for? And you could have brought in another dude that's 6'8", that could play small or big forward. No, he was forced. He was forced to draft that guy. And that guy was he was the worst. Him and Bennett is probably the worst picks of all time. As far as high draft choices, him and Bennett. Not Brown that played 12 years. Lorenzo, what's that? Me and my homeboy talked about how those melanated players from other countries are not better than our melanated Americans. They're not. They're not. Bucks, boring. Dennis plays like a running back. But that's my knock. That's my knock. And again, a visa is supposed to be for a person that has skills that American don't have. That they have skills that Americans don't have. It was like when Jimi Hendrix went to England and they had to fill out his paperwork and they had to evaluate, did he have skill that others didn't? And this was back in 66, I think 65, 66. And it was decided that Jimi Hendrix had skills that English people didn't have. So he was able to get a visa for the numbers of years he was over there. You can't say these players they bring in from other countries got skills Americans don't have. Now, I've talked about this before. I used to ref this Catholic church. I did all their games. For 5 years, me and my friend was the only refs other than we didn't do soccer. And we should have did soccer. But I mean, we were making $2,000-$3,000 from this one church school alone. We were doing all their volleyball, all their boys basketball, every level. And they only had ninth and varsity or JV varsity. Girls, same thing. There was one player that he loved to bump into dudes and then fade away. He would make contact, just the slightest contact, and he would fade away for separation. Do you know how many people I've seen in my life make that move? Let me give it out. Let me give it out. Do you know how, as a boy, I watched men do that move in the 60s? Personally knew dudes in the 70s and 80s. That very same move. There's no way in the world this boy ever saw those players play. No way. But yet he's using a move that they developed and they did. How is that possible? Do you know how? And he's only one example of people I've watched that play just like each other. Only one example. I've watched that multiple times. That's why I don't call it, I call it the continuous ball game, because the energy is continuous on the field. It's always moving. The playgrounds are the same way. But played on any type of ball field, that energy is always moving. They can't really contain it. It's always there moving. But this is how strong this thing spread. The little boy that lives in country Martin, Michigan, which is just corn and cows, never played AAU, none of that. Maybe little summer tournaments, but that's about it. But yet he can identically do this move these dudes I saw do 40 years before that. So do you see how this energy works? And do you see how when they bring people over, it corrupts it? And the NBA in itself is all of them are pure corruption. A pure corruption of which is a gift to the Americas. The Pistons won. Caden, what's happening with zeros, stars? That's true. It's about hyping and expanding the game to other countries. Australia, Simmons, Dante, Mean. Well, what somebody asked about Lynn. Lynn, of course, was the tie-in, was the thank you. And again, China was the top minor league. That's what they turned China into. It wasn't Europe. It wasn't Europe anymore. People, when they wanted people that was on their mind, and again, before the rules changed the G League. Now the G League can take any age. Before it was only a certain age would take the G League. Now G League will take any age. So we don't even really need to go over there. It would make more sense to just keep somebody that you might want to give these 10-day contracts to, keep them in the G Leagues and let them play, because they're going to play against decent competition, just as good as competition over there. So now with them, so-called beefing with China, but Nike wants that money. Adidas still want that money. So the league is going to be kind of pushed to stay over there too. So look for the Bucks on winning it all. They haven't been in the finals since 74. That's 47 years. You have to win 4 out of 7 to advance to the next round in the finals. Thank you. Thank you for the decode, Lorenzo. Thank you so much for that decode. We all appreciate the effort and the work. We definitely do. Great decode. Please take note of that. Look for the Bucks winning it all. They haven't been in the finals since 74. That's 47 years. You have to win 4 out of 7 to advance to the next round. Thank you for that. Only way Hawks win if somebody important for the Bucks went down. Yeah, unfortunately. I still don't count Charles Barkley, off the hook though. As long as the Suns in there, I hope not. But we've been surprised by less. We have been surprised by less. So I hope not for Charles, but where they do things, you just don't know. These are psychopaths. Imbecile psychopaths we're talking about. Oh, I appreciate your work. Silva, the technician, say still mad about the Nets. Yeah. And Silva, I'm glad you came in. I appreciate you so much of just trying to point out to brothers that do this how to make it all better. I mean, I appreciate you so much to putting that into so many heads on there's a way that on your level that you can afford, that you can make this thing the best way possible. And so salute to you for what you give freely as well. You give some of this freely. And I love people that give freely, because that's something I say. I give freely. I give freely. So always salute to you. Hawks got shooters and a better bench. I don't know. Bucks, Clippers in it. Oh, man. Don't sack Charles for the damn Suns. Don't sack Charles for the Suns. I hope not. I hope not. But the way they do things, you can't put anything past these cats. No problem. It's very possible they let Toronto get one. Bucks got a better coach, maybe. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, I give before I ask. There you go. When did this happen? Overhyping European basketball players. It's funny. All the names are so similar. I fall back to the name of Marcel Lonis, maybe. It was the cat that played in Portland, and then he played in the Nets. So the first cat came in 83 or 84. No, Petrotsits, that played with the Seal. He played with Portland, but he played with Portland and the Nets. The other dude played with Golden State first. Marciulionis, I think, played with Golden State first. And if you can find any tape of his, the Euro step was traveling. And he struggled with that. I mean, he would be by himself, but he would do the Euro step, and they would call traveling by himself. And so he struggled. But Petrograph, the dude that died, he was the sacrifice for European players. He played with Portland first, and he played with the Nets. You'll probably see most pictures with him with the Nets. And he was one of them dudes that, I was telling you about Tony Kukoc, and people was stinking. He was one of them dudes. He smelled the worst when he came over here, the one that got sacrificed. They was talking about this dude was here for a year, still smelling. And it was like that smell never went off him. And even the guy from Golden State was getting that now. Tony Kukoc, too, took a while for them cats. People didn't like being around them cats because they wasn't taking showers like that. And Kukoc, you can look at that up, too. Kukoc was the same way. And dudes was like, man, what is with this dude? They don't even smell right. And I ain't capping. This is some shit that was the thing. But that's the first dude came over, 83, 84. And then the one they sacrificed came over a year or so earlier. And he played maybe 3 years, 4 years. And then he got killed in a car accident over in Europe. Petra something was his name. But he was the one that, they said after however long his career was, they were saying he still stunk his whole career. Dudes didn't want to sit next to him. Dude smelling dudes. Petrovic, yeah, that was the name, Petrovic. He was the one died in the car crash. He played in the Olympics too. I don't know if he was Dream Team old enough. Maybe. Yeah, that's him, Petrovic. He's the one that they sacrificed. He was the first sacrifice for them to bring them over. But he was the one they talked. I ain't trying to, trash the dead, but that was one thing that the knock that the brothers didn't like. These cats was coming over here, and, not having the hygienes. And so Trey versus Giannis, Davis versus Goliath. Okay. What do you think about this win? The rise of the Phoenix digital currency defeats the Green Bucks money in a ritual dedicated to the upcoming market crash. Wow. That could be. Yeah. Let me write that down and think about that too. I'd have to really give that some thought than just Phoenix ride, crypto, bucks. I put inflation. So what was that? Was that Pam Grier that said, in Escape from New York? It's like, well, we'll give you $1 billion. And she was like, shit, I got a room full of that shit. That shit ain't no good. She's like, I got a room full of that shit. It ain't no good anymore. Oh, yeah. That's really, I got to look that up. Do you think they'll trade Ben Simmons? Yeah. They're not going to, because remember, they extended him. And so they're going to get somebody like Kemba is worth 72. That's kind of, and then they said that Kemba and Stevenson didn't get along. That's what came out today, that Kemba and Stevenson didn't get along. That's why he got rid of him as soon as he became GM. But yeah, I think Simmons signed that big extension. I think he owed $100 million or something like that. So they're gonna put that on somebody else. I mean, he got exposed, and so he's gonna be damaged goods. He's really gonna be damaged goods. It's just no way you can keep hyping this dude. It's just no way. He's exposed. That's why they asked if you caught Doc earlier. They said, are you gonna bench this dude because the other player came in and played so well? And Doc was like, bench Ben Simmons. I mean, he had no answer. And you know what? I was looking at Doc today. I think Doc wears, you know how like when you have hair, they can give you a skin, they can cover up your hair and just make it look like skin. I think Doc wears something like that on top. Because how do you like yesterday when I made that video, he got like hair. It's patchy, but he had like hair. And then today there's like, it's just like, first of all, the hair he showed in his conference is more than the hair that could have grown in the time period of the interview. So I think he wears something over what's left of his hair. So, but yeah, I think yeah, Moonrock. I think they're going to get somebody else to take that contract. It's just who's going to trust him. What fans is really going to push for him anymore? I mean, you under the basket and you don't dunk it to be down by 2. So, Bucks could go up against the Clippers in the finals. I say because the Bucks is 37 in full reduction. Staples is 73. Clippers play in the Staples Center. That's a good point. Hey, Woke, what are your thoughts on Trae? Is he going to be a better version of Curry? Well, that's a good point. I was looking at Seth carrying that energy, but Trae carries it too. Paul carries the energy as well of the short person because, again, the short person keeps the casual fan interested. That's the Curry ritual is keeping a short person on everybody's mind. And that's wanting to get away from big men as well, because you want everybody to feel they have a chance to play pro basketball. And so if you're short, but you can shoot threes, you have opportunity. However, when a player goes, what was it? When a player goes 3 out of 17, 3 out of 18, he gets sit down. Yeah, right here. 3. Matter of fact, for the game, he finished 4 out of 21. For the game, he finished 4 out of 21. So you're telling me, like Shaq said, or Charles Barkley said, that he shouldn't be taking 30 shots. So he took less shots. But I mean, look at this efficiency rating. He's not efficient. But Jimmy Jackson kept saying the spell. Not how many shots you make, but when you make them. That's a spell. You know, that's a spell to make you forget that he had a terrible game. He had a terrible game. 4 out of 21 is a terrible game. You should be sitting on the bench. But he made that last one. So that just shows you that they want to keep a short person there to keep the fans thinking that maybe our short children can still play and shoot like that. Soap said, I'm backing up on this decode. Yeah, Trae had a bad ball game. He had a bad ball game. He really did. Look at Trae had 6 or 10 turnovers. 6 or 10. No, let me see. I think I lost track of him at 7. So Trae had at least 7. He had 5 turnovers in the first half. So, I heard the Pistons for the Bulls for Simmons. They can get another point guard in. But yeah, see, Overdose said you didn't think he had a bad game. Yeah, he didn't have a great game. He didn't have a great game. Because 4 out of 21 just don't get it. But again, Jimmy Jackson putting that spell out there, not just understand when you hear spells. And it's like they're trying to tell you something. When he says, don't matter how many shots you take, but when you make them, he was saying, stay tuned. Something's going to happen, so stay tuned. So I thought that was kind of telling because they know the script and they give those little tidbits out. I said, that's the only advantage to watching all the talking heads during the week. They have certain information and they give it out every once in a while. They have inside information. And if you watch enough of it, you catch it. And that was something that Jimmy Johnson did for the games. And they do that every now and then for the games too. Give out little things to expect. So when he said that, I tripped. Trae had just a bad game as Simmons and still scored more. Oh, and that's why I won money because it was the bet was Embiid would score more than Young. And so I put money on Embiid and he outscored him. Yeah, because Trae had what? He finished with 9 points, something like that. Well, that was no, he had the free throw. So he hit 3 threes and he hit a layup. So that's 9, 10, 11. He hit 2 free throws, I think, too. 12, 13. And I was recording, so I missed some of the end. So maybe I missed a point here or there. So Trae probably had no more than 13, 14 at the most. Now, I missed assists, but I know in the first half he had 5 turnovers because they showed that. They flashed that. So what he finished with, I thought it was 7. So his efficiency rating, and then what they say, his plus minus would have been trash in that regard. His efficiency rating would have went down and his plus minus. But yeah, he still outscored Ben Simmons. Did y'all see what I put, that video I put about Simmons ain't scored, but in the 7 games, he scored 5 points in the fourth quarter in 7 games. Did y'all see that? And he is starting player. He your starting number 1 pick starting player. Yeah. He's already doing better than Curry did in his first 3 years. Trey had just a bad game as Simmons. Yeah, and I would say, yeah, Simmons had the worst. And Trey, something they said, Greg said he finished with 18. Okay, then I missed some. That's right. It was some, because I was recording a lot, so I rewound. But that's right. Trey got, because that would have been, when I stopped recording, Trey just got fouled, and it was 1-1 during garbage time. So that would have put him at, from 14 to 16. Okay, I see how he got it. He got fouled a lot at the end. Okay. But Embiid had, 31, 29? Embiid had 29, 10 rebounds. But he had 8 turnovers. He had some costly turnovers, too. Come home before he does anything else. He already doing better than Curry. Maybe. Trey had 21. Okay. Trey had 20. Okay. One's at 18. Trey had 21. Okay. Do I think they can make it? I'm just trying to go over everything. As I was saying, just trying to look at decode these names and this history and see what they're trying to put together here. I'll say the least information I see on teams is really the Clippers as far as success. I just don't see a lot of success there. The Suns, the same thing, but I'm coming up with more combinations with the Bucks and the Hawks, and then again we have to consider them when being won a championship before, and that's normally who they support. They support normally teams that have won before, and so we'll have a couple of days. There's no basketball today, no basketball today, and I missed the hockey game. I got to record all those videos, so I missed the hockey game. So there'll probably just be hockey on Monday. So, we just decode and come out with the names and the numbers. And I'll tell you my first thought, though, on the Hawks. When I looked up Bob Pettit and him beating Russell and them in 59, I want to say they beat him in 10. And the deciding game, Bob Pettit hit 59 in 59. And I think they took it in 6. That was my original thought, was that Bob Pettit team. So I'm going to look a little more at that 59 team of Bob Pettit, because Bob Pettit could go. Bob Pettit was 6'9" and could go. And he played a lot of center, but a lot of power forward as well. Probably center, though. But he could go. He could shoot. And so that is probably the strong – and the Lenny Wilkes, too. And the Lenny Wilkes connection as well. That Lenny Wilkes was point guard there. So Trey is kind of playing, the point guard that Lenny played. And the Pistol Pete energy as well. I want to say Zelmo Beatty had a championship with the Utah Stars. But I'm pretty sure he played when they were still in St. Louis. Because they were with Bob Pettit. And that's another thing on the Hawks is we have to consider the St. Louis. Because originally they were the St. Louis Hawks. So we have to consider St. Louis as well as for the Hawks, too. Because when they won that title, they were St. Louis Hawks, I'm pretty sure. So we got a day or two to decode. Ushering the generation of players, all top 5 in the league gone. All the top 5 players in the league are gone. Danilo Gallinari got drafted by the Clippers. Okay, and now he's with the Hawks. I see. That's right, I forgot about that. Curry ain't even make the finals. LeBron and out in the first round. Harden gonna score in round. It's about the new gen. Could be. And I always said that Harden is gonna lose till he get older. So Hawks won it in 58, not 59. 57, 58. They won it in 58. Okay. Because Russell's rookie year was 56, and then they went in 56, 57. So Boston, that's right. So Boston won 59 through 66, 67, maybe. No, they lost 67. That was Wilt's year. So, they won 59 to 66, 60. What would have been the Wilt won, I think, 66, 67, 68. So, okay. So But Bob Pettit had 59 or 60 against Bill Russell. He killed him. So thank you. Danilo was drafted by the Knicks. Oh, okay. Okay. So these are the ways we can all get together and decode and share the information for the people that bet. I like them little in-game bets though. I like them little in-game bets. So, and the NBA is, they back in gambling. They are backing gambling. They got on Donahue, but they back. Oh, and the thing I made about that ref, I want to get back to that. The video I made about that ref. This is when you know it comes in the ear. First of all, he shouldn't have called it. He was not, because what you're taught almost like triangles of what you cover. And so from his position, he has the corner, and he has, again, a part of going to the key. So that is where he's looking. So once they go past the free throw line, that is not his really, he doesn't have the best angle. He's further away. So who has the better angle? The person closest or the person further away? Because he saw their bodies better. You had a dude kind of block that's out in the top court, almost in the out of bounds hash. And then when you see that, he wound it up. When you see that wound up, it's theater. He makes the call and then he winds it up. That's acting. That means he got hit in his ear, called it. Because the dude underneath called a basket. That's what they don't call it a basket until the person under the basket does this. Every time the ref counts it. They look to him. The scorer person look to him and he's counting it. Why do you think when they show three, they see three? When the refs do this, that's what they go by, 3. But when they shoot layups and they right there, they'll hit 2. This is 2. They look at the ref. That's how they count it. That's what the scorekeeper's looking at. They're looking at the ref. And the ref with the best position called 2 points. The guy with the worst position and did that theatric move. So something fishy. But they blew a 26-point lead, which was showing they're not very good. They blew a 17-point lead, and then you got beat by a team that didn't score for damn near 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. But neither were you. Taking bad shots, missing layups. Trae Young, the 5th pick, 1 + 5 = 6. Oh, nice. How they hide these earbuds? Wouldn't we see them more? If you look at one of my old videos, it shows Dwayne Wade in studio wearing the colored I'm old man, the colored earbud. And so they don't, again, if you look at hearing earbuds, they're the smallest shit in the world now. And so they don't have to be very big, and they just have to be color. So, because there's no way he called that just on his own. There's no way. Why the delayed reaction? Because it was so delayed. It's like this. If one ref blows the whistle, it's no way I'm going to show 2. There's no way I'm going to show 2. That's how delayed it was. The whistle was so delayed. He saw the basket made. He showed 2 to the scorekeeper so they could count it. And then he blows the whistle. So that shows you they're getting hit. So now they got the little shit. Movies show you they got the little shit they can put in your ear. You can't sort of tell the script. You can sort of tell the script of the playoff game halfway through the first, especially after hearing the announcers read the tip-off script. That's a perfect point. Because you really can look at the flow of the game, and you can college is really easy to tell. You can look at the flow of the game and who's they're going to give the game to and who's going to be helped. It's getting a lot like that in these pro games too, where you can just see and not be surprised. I mean, I can pretty much call shots that go in. I'll sit there and maybe I need to do another live video. I'm sitting there today. I'm like, no, that ain't going to go in. And then I'm looking at the situation, like, that's not going to go in. And then I look at the situation. I'm like, that's in. And boom, sure enough. So I'm kind of right. I kind of predict how it's going. And again, when Ben Simmons didn't dunk the ball, which really was critical for them to get 2 and not just 1, They needed both points. And Simmons doesn't even try. And then his answer is he dishes it off so somebody else can dunk. He's like, well, I thought he had an uncontested. No. So yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard to keep him in there. And it's easy to glue him in there too. Light glue, something to keep him in there. We're talking about technology that most folks ain't getting. So there's a way they've got that where that ain't gonna never happen. They'll never fall out. It's somewhere they're applying them. They're never gonna fall out. Or we just ain't noticed it. We just ain't noticing they could, because again, you really wouldn't notice such a thing. Skin, flesh toned. If it fall out, it's very small. So you wouldn't even hardly notice this. I was peeping some delayed calls by the refs playing. Yeah. 76ers would have won if Ben could shoot. Yeah. And what did they say? This was since 90 something. This is the first time the first or second seeded team didn't make it in the on the East since what, 94, something like that. It's kind of surprised. Yeah. So Chris Boucher Magnus. It's just some people they leave out there to dry, and they leave him out there to dry. He doesn't have much magnet protection at all. And again, I destroying him gets everybody's idea of how the European cats ain't that strong. They a lot of hype. That's the thing that it's interesting, because that's what we're seeing. Matter of fact, a week or so ago, I'm reading about like people's like they doubting that he shouldn't even been picked before Jaylen Brown. It was like I was looking at all the names that they could have picked instead of Simmons, and they passed on all them names to get Simmons, and it's like, was he really? He was really kind of a waste. But they re-signed him. They gave him an extension. Remember that. So wherever they send him, gotta have to pay that and take over that extension. Because most, basketball is guaranteed pretty much. You notice how they make Gobert free throws go in. Yeah, he gets a lot of help, but I'll say this with him. You can see in his form that if no other shot, that he can shoot that. That's one thing I'll say about Rudy. You can see that his form is proper. And I don't say that about a lot, but in him, his form is proper. So I could see that he put effort in that. That he did put effort in there we go. That he put effort in his free throws. I'll say that about him. I will agree that he definitely did a better job of his just form, because form is everything. Form is everything, and he has a proper form, and that's all a free throw is. A free throw is just a repetition. It's one shot that you can do repetition. It's like, look up Hal Greer. Hal Greer was one of the few players in league history that played with the Sixers. He played with the championship Wilt team, and he shot his free throws as a jump shot. So when he dribbled and he was around the jump shot, he was almost perfect. He would never miss that, but he shot his free throws as he actually shot a jump shot. He one of the few players in the history of the league that actually shot like that. Why the Lakers got Kuzma? Yeah, and Kuzma's from Utah, wasn't he? Lakers picked Kuz before Tatum. Yeah, I remember that. Rondo just got traded from the Hawks to the Clippers this year. That is, they did. Yep, and he didn't even play tonight. He didn't even play. Or he didn't play yesterday. He didn't play yesterday. Or he didn't play earlier today. Or he didn't play that much. Yeah, but they Kuz before Tatum. Yeah, that made no sense. A team that was not from Cali or Texas that hadn't been in the NBA Finals was 12 in the Thunder. The refs handed the Suns the game in the fourth quarter. It was neck and neck, and then refs couldn't call Boogie right. Suns 8-0 run. Suns win by 4. And I'll tell you, like the Ben Simmons, when they called the Ben Simmons the foul, the one I showed, that was a 5-point swing. That play alone was a 5-point swing. They took away 2, and then they gained 3 and the free throws. They gained 3 free throws. So it turned out to be a 5-point swing. Rudy's overrated. Yeah, definitely overrated. I might be able to look into that. They love having him in the finals too. ATL versus LA. That could be. That could be. That could be. So we got until Tuesday to decode. Try to figure out some more and get your bets in. It's the best time of year to bet. That's why I knew the Suns winning was a lock. That was a lock. I made money on that game. So that was pretty much a lock. And most of the money was on them too. But LA versus ATL, yeah, that could be. Did you guys see the who was it that was wearing the LA hat, but he had the LA upside down? You know, it's kind of showing the Mason compass like, but he wore the LA upside down. I can't think of what player that was, but I thought that was clever. And then did you guys see the gold necklaces of the diamond necklaces? He had the Boondocks. That was kind of nice. He had the Boondocks characters on his diamond necklace. That's the kind of thing we should push. I like that. You don't necessarily have to have it in diamond, but it's just a good thing to show these kind of characters. I thought that was clever. I would like to get a necklace showing the Hero Twins, very similar, you know, Hero Twins in gold. Suns was tied 93 going into fourth quarter. Is 93 miles away, supposedly. There you go, Boo. That is a good one to pick up. And like, it's funny, just switching up a little bit, like a lot of all the time walking papers, again, nothing's perfect, but he takes a lot of that information to the 93, which is a Mason number. Basically, the Masons kind of came up with that number too. But he did a lot of his calculations all based off that number. And so I don't say that it's flawed, but it's like a lot of those numbers I don't think could really lead. If I guess I'm saying like this is, if you take these numbers that are false from the beginning, no matter how you apply, you can only see the rhythm of how the numbers are applied, but the patterns that he's showing are started with a falsity. So he put a lot of information in this too, which I'm able to experience what he's put in there. But again, you have to look at it like this is fake. So where you're starting off from really imaginative point. So no matter that you've proved it, where you're starting off is just imagination and given to them to throw you off too. So I don't think the sun is that far away. No, it's no way. It's just no way. Like again, this is the sixth sun that just came now, but it appears like 3 years ago. I've talked many times about seeing two suns, and maybe that was the last time I saw possibly the real sun. Maybe. I do a lot of sun gazing, and it's just a different reaction to it. It doesn't look the same as when I was a child. It looks very different. Not looking distant. I remember as a child, even a young man, it seemed distant. Not distant anymore. It's not distant. There's no way you see that thing. And you know, some of these long days where it's just so big in the sky, it's not enough of them days. So whatever theirs works, because what do they say? What do they say about weed plants? When you grow weed plants on a hibernetic chamber, you constantly can feed them with light, and they'll constantly grow. Weed will constantly grow if they got the proper light. They will just constantly grow. Here's one for people that kind of a country thing. My ex and I were in the country the other night, and I was helping her with something, or other afternoon, not night. And she was like, have I ever heard corn grow? And I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You know, if you're like near a cornfield at night, you hear a lot of that popping. You can actually hear corn grow. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but that's a thing. You can hear like this popping, and you can hear it grow. And I was like, yeah, because my great grandfather had a farm. And by the time I came around, he had sold quite a bit of it. He didn't hold the original acres. But I still remember hearing that corn like that. I remember my grandmother, and I was like, what is making that noise? My grandmother telling me that's the corn out there growing. because my grandmother had a big garden when I was a little boy. 7 ounce. 7-1 said that truth built on top of a lie is still false. Exactly. So your calculations are wrong. Yeah, and it can't take you where you want to go because you're building on something. Not to say that it's meaningless, because one part that you look at is the reality says it's this. And because the reality says it's this, I can apply this and get to where I'm trying to go by applying this. That is one thing you can throw back at the reality. But and again, you're going on their lie again, but you're going on their truth, because this is the Mason number they put to tell you how far it is away. So it's a conflicting kind of deal, It's like, yes, it's a lie, but to call this thing, this beast we go against, to call it out and saying, okay, you saying it's these numbers, we plugging these numbers in, and this is how we coming at you. They can't really flip it. They can't really turn that thing off, because they put this out there that these are the numbers. So you start using these numbers to get on their ass. It's hard for them to turn that off. Hard for you to get on the ass, though, but it's hard for them to turn that off. Been gazing more and more and noticing two suns. There you go. About Sun making finals, they always like to build these teams up to bring them down, to make the fans sad. Yeah, and saying maybe next year. Wait till next year. Of course. I'm outside of the job. Somebody tried to burn us up in here. Oh, okay. It was cool here today. We were supposed to have storms. This is the first soaking rain we've had in a long time. And it rained for about an hour, but it like a soaking rain. And the yards needed it around here. And today was, not as hot. And I ain't even got the fans on. The day didn't have to have air or nothing. It was just cool all day. But it's coming back towards next weekend. But I hope everybody, yesterday had got to see, the ones that had your children, got to see your children, talk to your children. So I hope that everybody, I got to talk to all of my children today. And so here's something funny. So my youngest son, Sidney, that lives here with me, he's living in my garage right now. He's turned my garage into his bachelor pad, whatever. But anyway, he bought me lunch. He bought me dinner, basically. And so I had to go make a run before the beer store closed. I had to go run to the store, and then I had to drop off something. And so I didn't pick up the food then. And so I come back, and he's like, yeah, I knocked the food over. And so it's like 8 or 9 of this barbecue boneless chicken is on my concrete where I park my car in the winter. So it's no way I'm going to eat it. And it was like 2 or 3 pieces of chicken left. So, and some fries. Yeah. So I should have grabbed the little styrofoam thing before I left. But yeah, all that fell on the ground. So that was kind of a bummer. All the stars are injured. They are. Hey, Reese, thank you for joining me. Peace to you as well. I mean, all they have to do is stay in the stack bucks, and everybody else is a level playing field. Yeah. I'm here. Weather was cooler and rainy. Yeah, we had thunderstorm warnings. It was kept, I'm trying to read different stuff, and it's like the following. So it thundered here a little, but not much. Second sun looks red. There, Siova says the second sun looks red. It can. There we go. Yeah, it can look red. Definitely. And it's big as it should be too. Red and big as it should be that I've caught. So, and I didn't catch them going the same way. It was like one was coming. It was like one had passed, and I was like, okay. And then another one came. I was like, whoa, where did that one come from? And it was just so like moving, like you watch the still photography, but it was like two going. Yeah. So, and the other time, I think I caught them both moving together, but one here and one here. Like one was back here and one was closer. So, but that is a good share. Thank you for sharing that about the red sun. Hawks won game 5, 109 to 106.
Champion equals 109. Prophecy 106. Oh, thank you. That's a good decode. I talked to all the kids except for my oldest daughter. Bucks stay choking in the playoffs. They probably will. We'll see. Well, that's good, PJ. Yeah, I talked to all of them. I FaceTime my daughter, and I don't know I'm having the worst with Verizon. Apparently down here is 5G because my ex and I have the same phone. We both got these 12 Max or whatever the hell they call. And she's saying where she lives, because she lives about 4 or 5 blocks away from me, that she is getting 5G. I am not getting 5G. I'm still getting that for the light bullshit. So I don't know what's going on. Why I'm not getting better. I'm getting Verizon has never been terrible, but it's been this last month with this stuff since I switched to this iPhone. It's not that great. I'm dropping calls. I ain't dropped calls in 10 years. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, there's not really a hilly area where I live, but we're on a hill, and I don't know, something's going on. So you're not seeing additional planets or more suns. So you're seeing additional planets and more suns. Not necessarily additional planets, but definitely more suns. Yeah, definitely seen 2 suns a few times. 2 suns. Yeah. But I'll say this too. I had an experience when I was looking. It was like how we really should be bombarded with planets. I mean, that's one thing where if you study some science, it says it should never get dark. If they're saying that all the stars that are around us, it should never be dark. That's one thing that they throw at them. It's like, how is it dark? All these stars you saying in the sky, how is it dark? And then they give you all these reasons why. Then but my point is, what I experienced was all this unseen stars. I'm seeing it where the sky, like I'm seeing the constellations here, but I'm seeing behind there, like into deep space. I was seeing that too. And it was like the thing where I'm seeing all the stars that you normally don't see. I am seeing beyond that. Now, the only time I catch that is when you catch a triangle, like a certain triangle when the planets get into those. Like a lot of times what we get here is we would get Saturn, Jupiter, and then the moon playing with them. And so the moon would create a type of triangle. But what I've learned too is when you study in planets like that, if you can catch, sometimes that triangle will open up a type of vortex. But another simpler way is just like the alignment of 2 planets. If you can stare between that alignment of the 2 planets, sometimes that can open up for you too. You can get a peek into deep space as well. So either way, either one of those could work for you. I'm not going to say they will, but they could. So enough practice. The Heat beat them. The Pope blessed the Hawks. Not surprised. Gotcha. Thank you. Oh, okay. Didn't mean to add the prayer emoji. Okay. I'm buffering. They won today with 103 points, 13 lucky numbers. They did it twice. I'm buffering, or am I? Could be. Don't see where I got a weak stream. I say the phones is nasty. Putting my chocolate on it. Come on. Looks like I'm going. Oh wow. People saying the Atlanta curse is all over ATL 33. 33 equals curse. They won today with 103 points, 13 lucky number, and they did it twice. I think I caught that, the final score. Hey, Mark, what's happening? Thank you for joining me. Oh, okay. Thank you, Overstand. Thank you for that. Then I throw this damn other phone on top of it. Silly. Oh, okay. Sometimes I'll be moving too fast and it started buffering. I'm switching up just slightly. I was watching Godfather 3, which is very interesting because it touches on some realities. Like really the Pope's banker or the Vatican's banker really did get killed. They hung him next to a bridge. It's interesting. They're trying, Mike is paying the Pope, the Vatican's debt of about half of the Vatican is $750 million in debt and loans, and Mike is going to give them, but they have a part on this board that owns a $6 billion company. And so Michael's trying to move in this, and this is the newer cut. I'm seeing a few different things, but it's interesting how they use so much of the old history and the old shows to try to put in the more modern look. So I don't see much difference. Hawks play like the Spurs. Sometime, maybe a little. I was thinking about old Dr. Delbert Blair today. Okay, Mark. The short season benefits the Hawks. That's a good point. We talked on Facebook back in the day. Great man. Oh, okay. Did you? Wow. Because Facebook's been up, since 06? Or something like that. Facebook's been up since 06. So you got to talk to him. Hey, for fast. Thank you. Too fast. Thank you for joining me. Well, let me read the divination since I'm here. Whoops. And I believe it is going into, let me do something first. And I will be right with it. There we are. Let's do this. And I'll get right to it in a second. And it's just funny. I don't know. I find when people are sincere and do things out of sincerity, I don't really have a problem with what they do. Because they try to send silent messages, but it's all right because, DNA don't lie. Family's family. So I don't take things personal. I'm like, okay, it's okay. Hey, Unique Breed, thanks for joining me. Jack, I thought the Barkley ritual was there, but I was wrong. They need to stop shaming Chris Paul. Definitely shaming Chris Paul. Everyone, hey, too fast, thank you. Yeah, they're definitely shaming Chris Paul. So today we have 13 platoons, 0 Katoons, 8 tunes, 11 Uno, and we should be on for Ken. Yes, day 4. Still hot under these dang lights. Stuff is everywhere. There we go. And so day 4 is the energy is going to be from the south tomorrow. So if you want to manifest out of the south. It's Khan, ordering power of growth, generative principles, sex and reproduction. And the energy is coming out of the south. For those of you who like to follow along with fractals, that is the fractal. And in the Toltec version, it is called Lizard. In this card image, we see Chamala, the mystical mother of Sa-Akato, who is the human incarnation of Quetzalcoatl, giving birth to the spiritual leader. From her mouth, a song is coming. The rope around and above her shows the cycle of life that had begun. On the top right, the lizard is protecting the process. The lizard is associated with the elements representing the Yanni and earth. Thus, the lizard symbol represents the pursuit of being a Yanni, practices, without losing connection to the earth. In other words, a Yanni path within a down-to-earth context, because it represents the grounded approach to magic. The lizard is a symbol of equilibrium. When you get this card, it's a sign that you need to look for equilibrium that arises from cultivating both your spiritual and your magical side in practice, and your practical material side with equal attention and dedication. This is what it means to live a grounded spiritual life. As a guardian of the temple and guide to the Yanni, Kublai Khan calls for the ones who devote themselves to learning and developing the most basic traditional forms of being a Yanni. In traditional Yanni societies, the Yanni path arises from the contemplation of and interaction with the forces of nature in a spiritual context. In this context, nature is regarded as the visible face of the Great Spirit. The basic Yanni maneuver was to initiate interaction with the forces of nature as a means to achieve states of heightened awareness, in which the basic separation between the self and what we call out there ends. Is in the static union between the human being and source. The difference between Yanni and religion lies in two main factors. The first one is the Yanni takes place in nature instead of a church. The second one is that the Yanni, there's no place for intermediaries or priests who wield power over others through managing people connection with the source. In the Yanni experience, you make the connection with the spirit by yourself. In the modern Western attempts to understand the Yanni, overemphasis of the role of the Yanni has misled people to think that Yanniism can be practiced by only the Yanni. The truth is, the Yanni experience is open for the community, and for the Yanni themselves are just supporters who provide space and techniques for people to participate in the Yanni experience. Getting this card is a sign to call for develop your Yanni path. So I hope those that can hear, those that have ears can hear. And if that energy reaches anybody, even only one person, well, then I did my job. Again, I give freely. Reminds me of the World Tarot cards. Oh, could be Moonrock. Could be. The Hawks are 1-1 in those jerseys. The Pope blessed. Interesting. Chris Paul was important in the Bible. That's a good connection. I guess I had never thought about that. This is something I caught too. So, you know, in the first time they did the Chris Paul where he's shooting with the WNBA player, remember those commercials? In the very first one, he disappears and he turns into a basketball. That's what they're doing. They made him disappear. I looked at the commercial today from the New Eyes and I'm like, wait a minute. They showing you that he wasn't going to play, that they was going to make him disappear. They made him disappear. And the commercial mocks you and tells you that. So I looked at that today with New Eyes. I'm like, they on some bullshit. This is predictive programming that he was supposed to disappear. And you see how they do this stuff. I'm like, boo. That was like, they're showing you. And that's why I'll go back to what Jimmy Jackson was saying. You know, it's not how many you make, but when you make them. That's predictive programming again, telling you something's going on. Yes, overstand. Right. Yeah, your direct connection with the source. Everybody has that. You have that right. That's universal rights. That you have the right to directly connect to the source. It's in you already. That's the thing. No matter how you've been programmed, it's still there. You still have the spark of the source from that when things started. You still got that in you, each person. Some say that women are closer to the source, and they have more of the source fire within them. And that's why a lot of times you see women beat down the way women are beat down. That is why this society kind of beats women down, because again, they're a little closer to the source and they want to think that, that's why the thing with the rib, they come from us. That's, come on. Nobody believes that shit. Oh, the mother was like mocking. Oh yeah, definitely mocking. They definitely like mocking Tiger Strong. And it's like that you don't even exist and there's nothing you can do to us. That kind of mocking. And which is because if the source struck at him, and it goes two ways. If the source struck out at him for mocking him, it would go against free will in ways. And if the source did set up free will as well, which is debatable, but I'm saying they would go against that because they have free will to mock you. And if you take that away and saying that we don't have their free will, then you lied about one or the other. So that's how they try to get the catch. We all have psychic abilities too that we can tap into. Yeah, and I forget to bring my big book out here and read all the different kind of ways that you have, and you can even think of things. It's like reading smoke. It's like there's people that can read incense smoke. There's people that can read the sage smoke. There's people that can interpret clouds. There's so many spiritual abilities. There's more that you can name. I mean, you may have a spiritual ability that is just unique to you. So and so everybody has a type of magic. But what I teach is there are ways to use magic to beat this system with the magic that's put out there. That's why my easiest way to teach is about driving. You know, I always teach about driving. Driving definitely is an easy thing to plug into, where you can avoid accidents, you can avoid getting stopped. I mean, there's a rhythm of driving that you can tap into. It's the troll under the bridge. I mean, there's really that much. It's an easy energy to tap into. So that should be least of your problems. That's why there's little things that attract that, no doubt. You know, there's things that attract that. So if you separate the things that attract that, you just separate all that, that makes them invisible to you. That makes them invisible to you, where they don't even really see you. They don't even really see you. And that's kind of how your timing should be, because it's timing. People actually believe Chris Paul got it. Yeah. Yep. Or the Eve committed the first sin. Yeah. Because it's funny. Like some of the Gnostics, some people saying that Gnosticism was before Christianity. That's not really quite true, because most Gnosticism comes from around 1st, 2nd, 3rd century. So it's not quite. Some of it now, one of the older ones would be the older ones that does predate Christianity would be called right here, the Gospel of Thomas. This is the one that's pre-Christianity. Pre-Christianity is the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas is older than everything else in the canonical Bible. The first gospel they ever thought of the Yahshua energy comes into the Gospel of Thomas. This is the early work of any Christianity. This is a pre-Christianity work, the Gospel of Thomas, and it's a lot of the same kind of things. And it's given to Thomas, his twin. Again, they like to take the hero twin energy, but Thomas is the twin of Yahshua. And so what's one little thing I can give? Yahshua says, seek and do not stop seeking until you find. When you find, you will be troubled. And when you're troubled, you will marvel and you'll rule over all. If your leaders tell you, look at the kingdom is in heaven, then the birds of heaven will precede you. If they say to you, it's in the sea, then the fish will precede you. But the kingdom is inside of you and it's outside of you. So when you know yourselves, then you'll be known. And you understand that you are children of the living source. But if you do not know yourself, then you will you'll miss the point. So this is the only part. So I was listening to somebody saying that, and maybe it was Bobby Hemmett or somebody, but so only that part is proceeds. The rest of it really don't. The rest of it really is later. But I like to give a little bit of everything. People actually believe. Remember when the Yankees had 7 vaccinated players got COVID? Like, what are the odds? That's been happening. You know, complete fear mongering. Oh yeah, definitely. But we've seen that. We've lived a year of that. Of you got to be scared to go outside. You know, that's the thing is they got you scared of going outside, thinking that nature is the place not to be, especially when the sun come out. So all we can do is say, because like I said yesterday about my family, they taking pictures, all of them. All of them is got the Juneteenth. My uncle's a historian, so is my father. They know better. They both know better. Well, my father's kind of, my grandmother died of dementia. Seems like my father's catching a little bit of that too. But my uncle know better. And then he put a poem up, and the poem got that African stuff. Macon's come from Virginia and then Mississippi. We're not from Africa, but you see how far. See how far they'll take it. But I'm not teaching that to my children. I'm not teaching that to my children. My children know we was more than just that. We was never really slaves. Not. It's in the fury of the moment. I can see the master's minds in every leaf that trembles, in every grain of sand. There you go. Yep. Jet ski. What are we really to do? Things that make you go, What are we to do is just live the moment. That's what you to do. Just live the moment and find joy. That's the thing, is to find joy. Find the source in yourself, and then prepare for eternity. And the way you prepare for eternity is taking memory through death. And the only way you can practice is practicing trying to leave your body, because that's one of the things that you can do. Before that final death blow comes in, you can move on. And so it's almost like it's two things happen at once. It's like you move on to infinity and your body move back into all this. It's kind of a natural reaction. You move on like this, and your body move here. That's natural. Because you go back into the Atlantis kind of stuff, and even that Anunnaki stuff is talking about catching the American spirit, the spirit in the Americas, and then shoving it into, the skin costume. That's kind of basically what both tales kind of tell you. And that's supposed to be the perfect man. My brother made a shirt about Juneteenth. It was a nice looking shirt, but I can get with the Juneteenth thing. Oh, thank you. The Suns' last NBA final appearance was in '93. That was a good catch too, Lorenzo. Yeah. My it's like it was my two brothers. My one brother has 3 children. My other brother has 2 children, and my sister, she has 1. So we got 6 children, and then my 2 brothers, my sister, and my uncle and his wife. So, but all of them had the matching shirts, and so they gave a history. But see, that's stereotype already. That's brainwashing your children. You're teaching. See, this is the thing. You're teaching your children what they want you to teach your children. The people that came up with these lies want you to teach your children the lies. And that just goes to everything, that gets to the point. Like my mother always gets me. She's like, you don't believe in anything. And that's absolutely right. There's nothing I believe in. I only know things. I don't believe in nothing. I only know things and experience things. But as far as believing in things, no. And that's why I teach people that come and say, do I believe this and that? I always give you, I don't believe in anything. I mean, if you think that the Yahshua is real, you put it in your heart and you know it. I mean, that's all. Allah, whatever you study, if you put that in your heart and that's what you live that. And it ain't, I've said before, that thing could do certain things. Demons can do good work. Demons can create miracles. Don't think they can't. Don't think it's demons just do fucked up shit. That's a lie. I mean, damn Yankees, bedazzled. Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. And that's the whole thing of when we talk about the Hollywood ritual and stuff. And they want you to be like them. They want you to think it's cool to wear $3 million worth of jewelry. And it's, it's not hard it's not hard. Jewelry is expensive, so it's not hard to get expensive jewelry. It's really not. So why would a man need a 7-pound chain? I don't get that. The Mr. T look. I mean, just wearing this for the couple hours I'm gonna be doing this is enough, and I'm feeling it on my neck. That's why I don't wear these two together, because this is just getting too heavy. Gold don't really weigh nothing, but silver is heavy as hell, and this big chunker on there, it's just the old 60-year-old neck is getting old. Oh, and then next week, my birthday is the 30th, but I think we're having the party Sunday, so it's gonna be kind of fun. And like I said before, my shoulders used to be way up to here. They were like out here and this high. Don't know what happened, how my shoulders got so droopy. But getting older, being an elder is great too. It's great too. I mean, I do miss going in the gym and knowing nobody can stop me. I do miss that. You know, that energy from the ball game, that confidence, getting in shape. You know, I miss that. But you got to find new ways. The seasons move, and all you can do is move with the seasons. We're gonna pick up pickleball. I don't know if y'all hip to pickleball. They put a lot of money in, so I'm gonna go get some rackets, and we're gonna get a few pickleballs. So it's kind of like how can I explain it? It's like playing badminton, but you're playing with more like a harder ball. You know, instead of having a birdie, you're playing with harder balls, and you play on not a full like tennis court. It's shorter. A lot of times the pickleball championships be on certain times of the year, so or just look it up and you can see how to play. But that's something we're going to start picking up, pickleball. A lot of old people already doing it up here because there was before they just got a big grant. I don't know where they got the money from, but they extended the 2 courts. Now they're going to build just like before. They would put the barriers on the tennis courts, so just shorter tennis court. But the new facility is going to be already pickleball courts, separate from the tennis courts. So they millions. So somebody got them. They had a good lobby from somewhere. So that's something that I'm going to pick up. Somebody on Twitter is pointing out all the ATL Milwaukee connection. Well, yeah, because the Braves used to be in Milwaukee. So remember that the Braves, when Hank Aaron won his only World Series, it wasn't as the Atlanta Brave, it was as a Milwaukee Brave. And then remember, Hank Aaron played with the Brewers too at the end of his career. He finished in Milwaukee. He didn't finish with the Atlanta Braves. Believe and believe both have the lie in it. Good point, Lorenzo. I can't get with it either. The Emancipation Proclamation was enacted. Texas Colonial let the slaves know about it in 1865. What's there to celebrate? Exactly. And I heard somebody to say, this is how much they have to lie. Somebody said, well, it wasn't that the slaves had to be told. It was that the masters had to be told. Well, what do they always tell you? It's more slaves than supposedly masters. So somewhere, somebody would have known something saying, we went to war and came back, we lost. We lost. And so, yeah. So that's got to change things for you people, but no. And then they say they came in with black troops, 7,000 Buffalo soldiers too. So they got to put the Buffalo soldiers coming there to save the day. Here we are to save the day. And they don't want to say in the Emancipation Proclamation that poor white trash got free too. So remember that. Poor white trash got free too. And if you don't think there was poor people that got looked down upon, poor Europeans, watch Gone with the Wind. She's like, don't talk to them poor white trash. That's one of the few times I've caught them talking down to the poor white trash. And of course, this is who the White League let come into power. This is why these people were so bitter. And this is why they wanted to keep a strict thing through Jim Crow. Because these people were the bottom feeders. They don't like hearing that history. But these people was the bottom feeders. And then they got raised up, which I call the rise of the hillbilly. Once they got raised up, you saw what they did. Hillbilly music, when I was a teenager, there was nobody would admit. And I grew up in a fairly mixed neighborhood, mostly probably European. And I think I'm listening to see if my cat is in my closet. But we saw the rise of the hillbilly. But my point was, in 79, no, none of these Europeans would admit they like country music. And matter of fact, I never understood why would a Michigan person like country music than the music of the South? Grand Ole Opry. This is music of the South. It ain't got nothing to do with people in Michigan. There's a tear in your beer in Louisiana or in Memphis. Not a tear in your beer in Michigan. Nobody talks like that. Nobody starts twanging like that in Michigan. So, as long as it's advertised on TV, our people is going to get to brainwash into something it's supposed to be proud of. Yeah, it's not. It's a small, that they tell this lie. Like I was talking to my oldest son, and like these Hmong, I've said before, ain't you come here to St. Paul and you go in them neighborhoods and you start thinking you gonna mess with them Hmong over there and them Vietnamese. You ain't gonna make it up out of there. You know how quickly word would get around? People don't play over there. This them gangs over there. These is the same gangs that in, I want to say 2006 or 2008, and you can look this up first, gangs. It was a dude who killed 7 or 8 people in an arcade. One of them Hmong or Vietnamese. I think he was Vietnamese. He killed 7 or 8 over in St. Paul over some gang shit. So these is the dudes that's been coming over. They daddies was in the war and shit. And these people, that's all they know. So ain't nobody jumping on them people over there. And I mean, we got about 500,000 in St. Paul. But between this whole area, I said out of 3.5 million people, there's only about 300,000 will be considered black folks or indigenous. That's it. It's about 500,000 Hmong. So it's more Hmong. And it's probably 2 million plus Europeans, if not more. Maybe closer to probably 2.5 million Europeans in this area. This is a very densely populated state. Most of the people live here. I mean, it's only 5 million people in the state. So most of them live around this area, the Twin Cities. And the Twin Cities go, shit. If I like if I want to go to what is it called? West St. Paul, South St. Paul, that shit damn near an hour from me. Like Champlin, where I used to live, that shit's about an hour away. The trains will take you almost an hour away. We got trains that's about to go to St. Cloud. It's going to be a train that you can ride to go to St. Cloud. So, does anyone have a link about the actual truth about Juneteenth? Yeah, Greg, I really have never seen it either. Again, I'm like at A&T where I had all these kind of histories, and yeah, none of that stuff. So, now I'll say, it wasn't celebrated at A&T, but we got out in May. I'll admit that we got out in May, so we was out of school, but I still lived in Greensboro. Now I only went home the summer of 80. Yeah, the summer of 80 is the only year I went home to Michigan. The rest of the time I stayed, when I was in school, I stayed in Greensboro. I worked for the water department. I worked 2 summers before I started working permanent. So I was down there. I was down there in June for 7 years. And don't tell me that, nothing but black radio stations. That's all I listened to all day. You had your own radio. So, headphones was around then. So tell me how I missed it. I didn't miss it. It wasn't going on. So yeah, and I don't know. So much funky history about that kind of thing. But rejoice. Rejoice in the light. It's going to be a lot of light, early light. Rejoice in the long light. Even though summer's coming, it means the days, it appears like the days are longer. And in fact, the days are actually gone. So, when you pass, you want your head in the east and your feet in the west. So I will switch that around as, wherever I am at, I'll make sure when I get about 110. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be stuck here then. Committing hate crimes to those Asians, but those gangs would have regulated us by now. That's why I don't think we're harming them. Yeah, it's like the media absolutely made it up. And this is, I'm not saying this through non-experience. I'm just telling you, I've been over there. And like, you can go over there, you know somebody over there, you driving, the people don't bother you. They don't bother you. But word gets quick over there that they are a tight-knit community. They are tight. And it ain't like, I ain't saying this ain't a small area. This is one of the sides of town over there that they the majorities. So it's probably 60 by 30, 40 blocks, if not more. It's not quite big as the north side. The north side goes about 90 blocks by 40 blocks till you come to Mississippi River. So, but it's damn near. It's damn near that big. I'm not talking about you 1-2 block. No. This is a fairly big area, and ain't nobody bothering them people. Like really, like this is what's funny is I don't know if people saw these videos, but you can go back on videos and you can see some of these Somalians was messing with people. And this was kind of in parts of St. Paul, mostly St. Paul Somalians. Like it was one old dude riding a bike and they just pushed him over. And what was funny is they just kind of pushed him. So if the dude would have opened his legs, he wouldn't have fell over. But he doesn't open his legs and it's like he keeps pedaling and falling over. So he falls over on his side. But these young boys was doing that shit. They wasn't doing it over there where them Asians live, because you wasn't never seeing them doing anything. This is a few years ago, but my point was they knew better. Them gangs of Somalian boys would have got off some bus over there and started messing with some of them Asians. You know how quick they'd be handled? They don't play that over there. They got some killers that come around. So, yeah, it's like they made it up. They've absolutely made that up. So. Nothing we can do about that, but just don't believe the hype. But again, you saying the violence on the melanated people, it ain't worth making no new laws, because even you can stop melanated people from killing other melanated people. You know, and I put enough energy in that last night on how even that is created. That is being allowed. So best thing is just to, you know, keep loving your heart and protect what's yours. Protect what's yours. Be a man, be a woman about it. Handle what you can handle. But definitely be, you know, don't be caught walking around just doing like this. If people look at you like you got your stuff on, your jewelry, and people look at you too long, pay attention. Even I'll check motherfuckers like, why are you looking at me? I don't know you. What the fuck you looking at me for? Even at this age, I still check people like that. The fuck you looking at me for? Who is you? You know me? You think you know me? Because that's what they don't expect. They don't expect an aggressive response from just looking at you. So pay attention. Pay attention. You want to wear your stuff, pay attention, because it's desperate. Chain snatching is becoming more and more real. So just pay attention. Don't let anybody with an arm length from you. Motherfucker come that close to you, shoot, you know. Put one arm up and get ready to bring something else up and be surprised. That's why I love pocket pistols. I got pocket pistols you can put in your summer pants, and it'd be 38 or 357 or 9. Now you ain't got a whole bunch of shots, but it's like the element of surprise is a motherfucker. Because they look at you and they wouldn't even think you would have something. And what does he say in Tombstone? You guys may get me, but I got this stuck against his head. You ain't gonna make it. Your guys may get me, but I'm gonna tell you, you gonna go before I go. So if you guys want to watch this shit splatter, OG, what's with the Trae Young hype? Without the Magnus and refs, he's casual. That's what I was saying. Siova said he had a decent game, and he really didn't. A lot of them points he got would be from fouls at the end, because so I could not have missed him shooting more jump shots. I know I didn't miss that. I may have missed him shooting free throws. So he must have made a bunch of free throws, because when he was right here, when he was 3 for 17, he had made 1 3 and he had made 4 layups, or 4 free throws. And so he ended up 4 out of 21. And he made that deep 3. So all his points mostly came on free throws from being fouled at the end. But he hit the 1 deep 3 to kind of cemented it for him. But he was 4 out of 21. That's terrible. That's a terrible shooting percentage. So he made a bunch of free throws. But at the end, they was in bonus and at the end of the game. So he had to make, because when he made the 4th shot, I'm trying to think. When he made this fourth shot, he was still like 11. They showed it, so he must have got a bunch of points of free throws. Because again, I started making. It took me a Herodotus. I wanted to get that play where dude bops him in the head. It was like here they are down by 1 or 2. The dude shoots a contested 3. You're behind him just to kind of make him have a hard shot, and you swipe him upside the head. And then when he did the acting like, oh my goodness, why did I foul him? That showed me they had the game. That play right there was like, I mean, you swiping by a guy and you got to hit him in the head. Nah. And then you see the fake acting. Like I was saying with the ref, it ain't just a normal, a lot of times they just punch a dude. It was the Globetrotter got a ref. When they called the charge, late whistle. Other ref already said 2 points to the scorekeeper. Late whistle. And so right then you knew it was earbudded. You knew it was earbudded. Lil John said, what you looking at, nigga? What you looking at? Yeah, that's it. What you looking at? Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I don't know you. Don't come up on me. I don't care what you got to say. I've told that to many people. I don't know you. Don't come up on me. Can I wash your window? No, don't come near my stuff. Don't come near me. And sometimes you just got to be like that. It's good to have a little friend with you. That's my point. And that is your legal right. And it's a society that's all they know. That's all they know. And it ain't like a threat. Don't be like, you got to shoot somebody. You just got to shoot them. It's just that simple. And like I've said, my beefs around here have been with brothers. They ain't been, these European folks. And so a lot of these young people don't understand that you'll hurt them. Not just you hurt them, you hurt anybody else you send at me. That's kind of the mentality you got to have. Because if more happens, well, you better live with your head on a swivel too. Pay attention. Pay attention. You ain't got to go out looking for trouble, but you got to face trouble. You got to face it. Can't ignore it. If it's going on around you, it's going on. If it's going on around you, it is going on. So you got to heed that it's going on around you. Heed that. Keep getting faker and faker. Yeah, it does, Jack. It does. But that's good. Like Sly asked me, Sly said, well, do you think, the basket manipulation stuff is working and showing it? It has, because they're being questioned more and more. And this is the goal. There's a goal of this, is to make them admit that the games are all scripted. And they're going to admit it, but people are going to still support it. But they're going to have to admit it. Too much information is coming out about them being scripted. And it ain't going to affect betting, because people still bet on wrestling. That ain't never went away. You can still bet on wrestling. And it's fake going in. It's a script. But you have to figure out the script. So they're going to be forced to do it. And I don't know when, but they're going to be forced to do it, saying, yeah, it is. I mean, all the information's out there. They use the magnetic gloves. They got balls that they can send into the goalpost. Football never had that problem until the last 10 years or less. Balls hitting the goalpost. When they was on the old-fashioned, H, I don't ever remember. And I did a lot of football games on old high school fields with the H's. They didn't upgrade. I don't ever remember seeing many young kickers kick into the poles. Just never saw that. NBA refs ruin the playoffs with silly fouls. Yeah, Greg, a lot of times they do. Because I know that person's intention. I got you. I got a pet peeve about people being too close to me. There you go. There you go. And I pay attention. Hey, brother, I got something to talk to you about. No, you don't. You don't know me. Don't walk up on me. But I ain't just talking. That's just my sons would be like, why you be rude? Like my daughter's mother. She's like, why are you rude to these people? I'm like, I don't know him. Fuck him. She's like, you're just rude to people. I'm like, no, he ain't. I don't know him. Don't come up on me because I do not know you. That Beverly shot was, oh yeah. Every time you see Beverly shooting, you gotta wonder. Unless he's shooting a layup or a try dunk, yeah, he's not a great shooter. He just has poor form too. But they let him play his role. Remember, he hurt Westbrook on purpose. Y'all remember that? Beverly hurt Westbrook on purpose when Westbrook got his first knee surgery, and Beverly tried to do it again the second time he faced him. Tried to go at the same leg. So Westbrook should have known there was something that was against him. In what world do people think the NBA is real when they put Tony Brothers and Josh Tiven the same game? There you go. Put the Tony Brothers and Josh Tiven to ref the same game. Like the video I showed, I couldn't even see where the other ref is. And I'm like, what kind of positioning is this? I could not find where the other ref was in that video and all that. So like, you stayed back that far? Because he had to be coming in half court. And I'm thinking you should be over half court by now. But I could never get a picture where I could catch all three of them. So yeah. So it makes you see. That's why Donahue wasn't the only one. And you can go back to games where there's agenda. I mean, Dwayne Wade shooting 20 plus free throws. In what world do you think that's a real game? Where that guy shoots 20 plus free throws more than the other team. When one person shoots more free throws than the other team, the game is scripted. It's funny watching fools about fight over sports when they are rigged. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's why I respect bettors, because at least you putting your money where your mouth is. I respect bettors for that, because bettors try to put their skills to this, because it is a rhythm of watching this stuff. It is. And you even showing the fakeness, it's a rhythm to it where you start seeing it. And you start seeing where they're fighting the agenda. That's why what I didn't understand about tonight's game, here is the team don't score for 5 minutes and you still lose. You still lose. That in no normal world does that happen. You're supposed to get a big enough lead where they don't score for 5 minutes, where you win the game easy. But that wasn't the case. We had a 3-on-1 with Tobias Harris. He blows the layup. They had a 3-on-1 and he blows the layup. They come down again on a 3-on-2. Misses another layup. Did y'all catch the pattern there? They had a chance. They didn't score in 5 minutes. So, and what? One game they blew a 26-point lead. One game a 17-point lead. So that was kind of how they was doing it for them. I must stand. Oh. Okay. And it's funny, like, if you really look at these holidays, they're really kind of distractions. Because, like, we got the distraction of Father's Day. Well, we had Mother's Day last month, the distraction of Father's Day. And then we're getting the distraction of 4th of July. And I'm going to, talk about that. Of all my points, the 4th of July is the biggest mocking to melanated people ever. Because the Revolutionary War really wasn't about British and them fighting each other. It was really about Britain and America, some of these Puritans in America splitting up lands. And that's all. Because if they truly were against the British would never have Jamaica, and they would have never had Canada. And they tell you these bullshits, Revolutionary Wars, that those Canadians just loved the British so much, they just fought so well, and we couldn't knock them out. These are all lies. These are all lies. And they scripted that whole war to carve up the country more and more, especially once the French pulled out. And if there was any mistake, Pontiac believed that the French would come back. Pontiac lived on a fool's premise. He didn't see the point that the French, when they left, they wasn't coming back. Yes, the French did offer some resistance and weapons to the South. That is partially true. But when they left out of the Americas, they left. They didn't come back. Last days of ancient Rome, around 150 days a year, were holidays to keep people believing in the lie. Thank you, Moonrock. Mr. Lamborghini, I didn't know why, but I still root for the Steelers, but I know it's rigged. And that's fun. I still root for the Eagles. And I know, like when I saw the Eagles play here 2 seasons ago, they got killed by the Vikings with Wirtz. So yeah, that's why they build the Coliseum. They build the Coliseum to keep people, dismayed, keep people not paying attention to how they raping you. I did want to bring this up because if you ain't paid attention, not good news for Bitcoin. Bitcoin was what, 59? They say Bitcoin is at 32, baby. In the last 12 hours, it has dropped $2,600 in 12 hours. That means them NTFs, same way, they losing value too, because they are tied in. They are tied into this price. In 7 days, you've lost $6,700 in the last 7 days. No, yeah, 6,700 in 7 days. If you had the high of 59, if you bought in at that high of 59, woo, gold ain't taking that big a hit. And it's the weekend, so the price is pretty much unchanged. Yeah, time to buy gold. Gold down to 1,768. It's time to buy gold. Silver's hanging in there. I would say the better buy would be gold. So that's why these people trying to tell you these NTFs, they are linked to Bitcoin. So you buy this stupid little thing you want that only you can own. If the price of Bitcoin going down, so is that little thing that you own. It's funny. What is it? Quantum of Science, whatever the goofy dude lives up in Pennsylvania. His name is. That brother was showed where a dude bought an invisible statue, and somebody is stupid enough to buy an invisible statue. You talking about the king ain't got no clothes. Brothers ain't too stupid like that. Be like, so what's supposed to be there? And then they describe it and shit. Yeah, brothers wouldn't get excited. You know, right here is the detail. It's like, there ain't shit there, bro. Ain't shit there. No, it's there. No, it's not there. Get one of them chumps to buy you're not there. Yeah, we wouldn't mess with that. We wouldn't mess with the no clothes. We like, motherfucker, I'm naked. Fuck what you talking about. We ain't that stupid. That's a European kind of concept. That a motherfucker be that vain to believe that they sew invisible clothes, or that you can sell an invisible statue. It's the same shit. That was the thing that I thought about it. Like, that's the same point. But remember, NTFs. If Bitcoin goes down, so does that go. So if you buy all the super dunks of LeBron at a certain point, whatever you paid is worth less today. So remember that. I know a lot of people pushing them, but remember, it's tied to that other stuff. It's not saying that you cannot ride it, but if you can't afford to ride it, I mean, that's a big hit. You bought in at 59, so you just put 59 out there. So you had it and you like, man, this is nice. And now your 59 is at 32. Now, if you only bought a percentage of one, then you ain't so bad. But I'm saying if you started and you have 59 to put in there, your 59 is at 32. That's a big ouch. That's a big ouch. No such thing as a free lunch. There you go. There you go. There you go. It's like my son showed a video of an anime of a dude slapping a chick, and it was like, that would be how I'd have did to them dudes thinking they sewing invisible clothes. I'd be like, pow. What does he say in Tombstone? He's like, you give a man a rap upside the head, you get some respect. Because remember in Tombstone, the bartender talked shit to him, and Jed Clampett, or no, I can't think of what his name is, the family got killed. He slapped the shit out the bartender. Then he points to him, he says, that's how you get respect. You rap somebody upside the head and you get respect. He said, I'm not going to take no sass from you. He just slapped the shit out of him. I find that kind of shit funny. It's like, I'm not going to take any sass from you, bartender. You know, people tell a bartender their problems and shit movies. You know, get drunk and motherfucker get to be a sad drunk and shit. Well, you know, I used to have her and it didn't work and now I'm just lonely. Yeah. I don't understand the concept of lonely. Remember that song, What Do the Lonely Do for Christmas? Well, I ain't never been lonely, so I don't know. What do they do? So, well, I'm not saying anything interesting anymore. I'm kind of repeating, so I guess I'll lay it here. And then we have the full moon this week too. Let's see. Seems like somewhere I've got the moon cycles on here. Let's see. Moonrise. Here we go. So for tonight, trying to think of the wow. So the moon is out. Let's see. Trying to see. Okay, right here. Because the moon been out all day here. Let's see this. When is the next full moon? Because I think it's the strawberry moon this month. 24th. So let me get this right. 2 p.m. So we'll actually have to bring it in the night before. So Thursday at 2:40 p.m. is when it peaks. Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll celebrate the 23rd going into the 24th because it actually peaks during the day at 2:40 p.m. So yeah, that'd be the strawberry moon. Yeah, the strawberry moon. So those of you that like to bring in the full moon with me, we'll be bringing it in early. So no show tomorrow. We'll not do a show tomorrow. I'll be back on Tuesday, maybe Tuesday day, if not Wednesday night, going into Thursday morning. This is actually my days off coming up. So I don't think I'm going to be on tomorrow night. Yeah, Monday night. I usually take off Monday nights, unless I do a daytime show, which maybe. People asking me to do daytime shows, maybe. Just depends. I'm getting it on in the daytime, So the winter solstice. No, this is the summer solstice. Summer solstice. Well, you're safe. Sad, drunk is depressing to be around. It definitely is. Now the summer solstice is right now. Summer solstice. Sometimes I feel like an android. I lack emotional intelligence. I get that. It's easy for people to take advantage of me because you got a good heart. I'll tell you what. And this is like just really me, and not really trying to burden people, but it's like yesterday I was cooking and it was like I almost like really just felt like flipping out. I really did. And I was trying to figure out where this emotion is coming from. And then today I'm just sitting like right before coming on and I'm just like, I feel emotion coming out and I'm thinking, where is this emotion coming from? Because it was like just a sadness came through. And I'm watching some shit and the shit I'm watching ain't really sad, but I just felt that. And I'm like, where is this coming? And then I was doing some bullshit cooking and I just wanted to scream. I really did. Like it just make you want to holler. I'd be thinking about Marvin Gaye shit. It just make you want to holler. And so, I'm not saying that like you saying not being a robot, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just like these little things bother me. And I'm just trying to think of where this energy is coming from. That's why I'm kind of glad I did sage everything. Maybe my shirt smells like sage. Not good to take on dates smelling like sage, but it's not bad either. Sage doesn't smell bad. But so it's good to sage everything to get clear these energies. And that's one good thing. But beware of this stuff because this stuff can catch on fire easy. So if you mess with this stuff, these strings can catch on fire. They bundle it so it burns more uniform. So but it'll relight. I mean, you can play with this, but it's fire too. So I don't want anybody to get this shit. Remember, you got to keep it on something. You kind of want to have something under it so this stuff ain't dropping because hot stuff can be dropping. So like a lot of times they got shells. You can get those clam shells. But I found this and this wanted to do something because this goes to where I keep my incense. This is the top. This is China. And it caused something to break some of my stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, this thing wants to be used. So fine, I'll use it. So I was like, this is the perfect thing for holding. So, but keep that in mind. if you never used it. Oh, well, thank you, PJ. Thank you so much for your insight. All you guys that help and participate, thank you for your insight because, I don't know it all. I only know what I know. And I try to share and get this out. And this is the type of therapy, I agree. It can be a type of therapy because it's just like so much studying and like nowhere to put it. And so I try to make it understandable because some people come up with these concepts, like even like seeing the two suns. It's hard for some people just to put the easy concepts out there. It's like anybody can see this, and this is kind of how you can see it, and these little extra things to pick up on. So I try to make the concept sound easier because even like leaving your body, it ain't got to be this thing where you walking around like Doctor Strange. No, it can be as simple as just phasing out a little bit or even learning to phase. That could be as simple. You may only get to the phase level. That's okay too. That you can just phase out for a couple seconds. That is getting you ready to that's a part of getting ready too. So if you're just feeling yourself phase, that's okay too. So there's no one way to do it. So it's hard. Yeah, you don't. I don't understand myself. Yeah, I understand. But just do the best you can. Do the best you can. That's all I could say. That's all I could do too. Even though I felt like yelling, I was like, okay, get it together and just keep moving because the moment is all you have. Don't worry about moments later. Worry about the moment now and push through. So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Again, maybe come on early tomorrow. I doubt it. Usually take Mondays off for sure. So and then there ain't no game but hockey tomorrow. So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I've been your host. A Win is Timeless. And Tiger Strong, I'll send you, some healing energy, no doubt. I'll put you in some real thoughts and try to send you healing energies. If anybody else wants to participate that, you can do it as well. Because if we have somebody down, we are all a gang of people that can try to send healing energies your way. And if one of those intentions from some of the good people come in, we hope they do. That's the best we can do. Okay. So, as I always end with Eshawn Poem, I'm not a New York rapper or LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show, y'all. Thank you very much. Till we meet again.